This evening we're joining the Castle Cove Sailing Club first Cove Cup race aboard the Keelboat Tumbling Dice. Before the race, the crew tune the sail trim to the current weather conditions. More boats sail out from the moorings to join in the racing. The wind is 8 knots from the southwest. The figure of 8 course beats to race mark number 2, then downwind to 7, back up to 3, down to 8, and finally a beat to the finish. The crew are Debbie Bowers, Colin Muntz and John Kirby with David Brock on helm. Keelboats and dinghies gather for the start. Two minutes before the gun, the keelboats are lining up to get a good start. One minute to go and the boats are jockeying for position. Everybody wants to be at the committee boat end. The fleet is packed. Tumbling Dice has picked the wrong spot, way too far to windward. She's squeezed out and has to go around. But the other boats have been enthusiastic, crossed the line early, and it's a general recall. The keelboat start goes to the back of the queue and the keelboats start to regroup. Meanwhile, the dinghy races are starting. The keelboats move to the back of the fleet, ready to begin their approach again. This time, Tumbling Dice goes for the middle of the line to stay out of trouble. U Beauty opts for a port end flyer, but Tumbling Dice cuts ahead of them. This time it's a clean start and everybody gets away safely with no recall. On the first tack, Tumbling Dice pulls ahead of the Hawk, Witch 4. It's a beautiful evening, with the boats spread out across the course. Everyone is focused on beating to the first windward mark in clean air. Celine is the first around the windward mark, followed closely by Buckshot. The rest of the boats are not far behind. Next around the mark is Fortune and Merrywake. Impressively, Hopeful, the Devon yawl with the red sails, is right up in the pack. Tumbling Dice is 5th and has some work to do to catch the 4 boats ahead. The downward leg is all about spinnaker handling. Tiptoe of Tara soon has her spinnaker up and is off racing towards the next mark. Both Witch 4 and Ella beat Tumbling Dice to the spinnaker raise and soon power past. The delay has pushed Tumbling Dice back to 7th place. Now there's even more to do to catch up. Eventually, Tumbling Dice sets her spinnaker and starts to draw past Ella, stealing the wind as she goes past. There are still 5 boats ahead, but Tumbling Dice is not giving up. Heading down the course, the keelboats weave in and out of the dinghy races, being careful not to spoil anybody else's race. Meanwhile, Ella and Witch 4 are neck and neck. Small adjustments to the spinnaker push one in front of the other and then back again. Tumbling Dice tweaks her trim and starts to pull ahead of Ella. But there's not much in it. Ella is on the tail of Tumbling Dice the whole way down the leg. With the sun behind her spinnaker, she's a fine sight, especially as she's astern of us. Next up is Fortune. As Tumbling Dice passes her, there are now only 4 boats ahead of us. Ella soon starts to overhaul Fortune. At this stage of the race, the boats are very close. As we approach Mark 7, the downwind mark, we see Celine and Buckshot already racing up the next upwind leg. We've some work to do. Mark 7 is crowded. Merry Wake has already rounded the mark, and Witch 4 just nips in front of us. Ella pulls off a superb last-minute spinnaker drop and lands right on our tail. On the beat we pass Witch 4 for the second time. Heading up to Mark 3, we still have 3 boats ahead of us. Celine, Buckshot and Merry Wake all look resplendent with the sun behind them. Behind us, the rest of the fleet are not that far back. There's no time to spare to admire the view. Again we cross the dinghy course, taking a careful path so as not to affect the other sailors. Around Mark 3, we set the trim for the last downward leg towards Mark 8. U-Beauty charges past on a starboard tack, heading up to the mark we've just rounded. Again we're treated to the many coloured spinnakers on the boats behind us, all lit up by the sun. What a glorious evening. It's nearing the end of the evening and the last dinghies are finishing their races. At the end of the run, the Tumbling Dice crew drop the spinnaker and soon have it stowed safely below. Great teamwork like this wins races. We round Mark 8 and start the final beat for the line. Merry Wake has dropped out, so now there are only 2 boats ahead of us, Celine and Buckshot, but we won't catch them now. As we cross the finish line, Fortune and Ella are behind us, but every second counts as the final results are decided on the boat's handicap. Fortune crosses the line, followed by Ella. Not far behind are Witch 4, U-Beauty, Tiptoe of Tara and finally Hopeful. Buckshot was first over the line, but Celine won on handicap. Tumbling Dice had been 7th at one point but pulled back to finish 3rd over the line and 6th on handicap. Fortune was 3rd, Witch 4th, Hopeful 5th, Ella 7th, U-Beauty 8th, Tiptoe of Tara 9th. It's been a great evening of close action racing. Why not come and join us for the next race?